What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the DX Gamer Show. My name is Mike, aka Operation DX, and we are continuing from where we left off in the previous episode and attaching modules to our space station around Minmus. And I wanted to make sure that Jeb was aboard this craft. This is the next craft that I'm going to attach to my space station, as I was talking about in the previous episode. This is the craft that is going to ferry a Kerbal up and down to the station, plant flags, find out where the best places are, where the different biomes are, and so on. Not really changing the formula too much on this one, using the exact same launch vehicle, essentially, with just a few modifications. As I expressed in the previous episode, these things are kind of expensive, especially the fact that I'm using them in the local system. So every time I do a launch, it's about 200,000 credits. So this is my third launch for the space station setup, technically the fourth, because the mining rig, but yeah, so about 800,000 credits on stuff that I haven't really made money on in the contracts. Launching this craft up into orbit makes me think of some of the comments that I've gotten recently. One of them particularly the fairings. One of the comments were asking if I had unlocked the fairings, which I just did recently in a couple episodes back. And yeah, I'm kind of still old school. Even though we've got the new aerodynamics model, I'm still kind of playing the game old school. I guess maybe it could make these rockets a bit more efficient. I could probably save maybe just a little bit more fuel. I don't know. Some of you expressed that you just think they're cool, and it's just kind of cool to watch them pop off and that kind of thing. But I don't know. I guess maybe I'll consider using them since you've brought it up. But I've only just recently unlocked them, and they're also a new part to me, just like a lot of the stuff that was added in recent versions I haven't really played around with. The fairing, at first, when I was watching Scott Manley's videos, I didn't watch all of his how to play the game series or whatever, but I did catch a few of them, and I thought that he was using a mod. I'm like, oh, well, he's using a mod and is like teaching how to play the vanilla game, but I had not realized that that was implemented into the game, which is really, really cool, because those fairings are actually really neat. But yeah, I haven't played around with them too much. Probably should, because of the new aerodynamics model. And now I just said all that twice. So anyways, let's see. Also, one of the suggestions was to build a SSTO kind of craft, or aircraft, or maybe space shuttle, to start having the ability to ferry Kerbals from different locations. This craft is essentially the start of that, but it's not a plane shuttle, and I haven't, again, unlocked a lot of those really cool spaceplane parts. Some of them are super awesome, and I wouldn't want to like dig in and build something until I've unlocked some of the really cool cockpits and some of the cool bodies and stuff. I really like some of the docking ports, and yeah. I'll probably get there, though. I'll probably get there. I know some of you really want this series to continue on after I do unlock all the tech tree stuff, and you know, that's kind of where I was going to deem the series to be complete, but I don't necessarily have to do that. I mean, you guys, if you guys are liking the series, I can keep rolling with it for a little while. I do have plans to start up another Let's Play of a game. I'm not going to say which game. I was considering doing Space Engineers, but it's so close to what I've done recently, and there's like some cool stuff coming along the way, and I don't want to do like a really in-depth Let's Play of Space Engineers and then some really cool update happens. So there's some really cool stuff coming along the way as far as Space Engineers. So I want to wait just a second. But anyways, yeah. Another comment was asking, oops, I just bumped my mic. I don't know if you guys heard that. Another comment was asking if it is possible to get an older version of Kerbal Space Program before they implemented the new aerodynamics model, essentially before 1.0. I don't believe that is possible anymore. You used to be able to like opt into betas or go back versions with Steam, but I think they took that out. And there used to be a demo, but the demo is lacking hard in the game. It's not even the same game. Anyways, in the video, that was a serious whoops there. I could have had a catastrophic bad thing happen. I accidentally time accelerated too quickly and whipped by the station. So I had to turn around and head back towards the station. I'm starting to use time acceleration on my docking. Usually I just kind of sit there and watch it because, like I said, I really enjoy this part of the game. I love doing this. So, yeah. But again, like I'm speeding some of these parts up. And talking about speeding parts up, another comment was suggesting that I'm good at the game, but I play the game inefficiently or too slowly. I commented back, but I haven't got the reply yet. I can only assume that the person means that I don't run more than one mission at a time kind of thing. I focus on one single mission per episode, or maybe I might get a couple done per episode, but I'm focusing on essentially one craft at a time. Anyways, okay, you might notice the screen just turned green. You're like, oh, what's going on here? What just happened? Okay, this part was really dark. You couldn't see anything. And I just want to show the docking again like I always do. I won't always do this. I'll relax with this after I do this a couple times. But I want to do it in the series. So, yeah, I just fudged around with some stuff in my editor. And I was able to like play around with the contrast and all that. And get it to where you can actually see what's going on, because you couldn't see what was going on. And yeah, it was pretty terrible. But also, like, what magnifies this is like during this docking process, it was like on the dark side of Minmus, and I could not see what was going on either, even though I positioned lights on both directions of this craft and intentionally set up lights to point towards the docking port, and I curve them in so that, you know, if there was a nighttime situation, I would be able to see the docking port. But what happens is when you get too close to the docking port, the lights they're not curved in enough to show the docking port. So it was completely in the dark. So another thing for future design that I have to think of. But that's another thing I like to do in my space stations and like these kind of designs, is I like to use the lights to highlight or light up the docking ports so that craft that are inbound can see the docking port, and it makes it so much easier, especially when you run into a situation that I'm running into right now and I have to like really up the contrast. I mean, I could not see my approach. Besides the stuff that's lit, you can see the stuff that's lit by the lights. That's like, I can see all of that. But, you know, like the background here, the actual back of the craft, you can actually see the craft in this video right now, but I couldn't see it. I could just see the lights and like some of the light on some of the science packages. So it was like super, super, super dark. And it made this docking really very, very difficult to do. But I was up for the task, up for the challenge. So anyways, yeah. I really hope that I can use this craft as planned. So once it's finished doing its thing, which won't take too long, I'm essentially going to start that mission in this episode, where it's going to land down and start doing what it was planned to do, finding the highest spots of resources, finding the biomes on Minmus, and then it is essentially done. So what I want to do is I want to send this thing over to like Duna and Ike and do the scans on those planets to get the resource information. And then I might plan a mission to Jewel. So I'm not sure what's going to exactly happen. If you guys want to see like an SSTO kind of thing, I mean, that's another thing. Just speak up in the comments. Let me know. And, you know, I will think about planning future missions. I know there's a bunch of you, or there's a couple of you that you know, want to see me do certain things, and I don't mean to blow you off, but I do have certain plans. Some of them are like, you know, yeah, I'm not doing that. I do apologize. I apologize for laughing as well. Anyways, yeah, same kind of thing here. This wasn't a perfect docking, but yeah, I couldn't see anything. All right, so essentially what I want to do here is I want to land down where my miner is and plant a flag at the best location where all the resources are. I got kind of a cool design going around Minmus with the orbit lines. It looks kind of interesting. Anyways, I'm going to fuel up my, I don't know what to call this, landing craft. And I'm going to send it down. Now, this one, it is using the LVNs, so it doesn't need any oxidizer. So hopefully that'll lighten it up. I am using 3 engines, so I don't know how efficiently this thing's gonna operate. But they do actually they did change the engine a little bit to the better, like not such a hard nerf. Is they made the mass different on the LVNs. The LVNs used to be 4.5 tons apiece. They are now 3 tons apiece, so that is kind of helpful. And yep, just filling everything up here. Just doing my monopropellant tanks. And I intentionally put less monopropellant to lighten up the load. That tank, of course, was empty to make it lighter. This craft was probably heavier than the resource package. So, yeah. All right, so I got this thing filled up and just checking out my science, and check that out, man. Those guys are getting science pretty quickly. All right, so I have to speed up time because my miner was just about to go into the dark side of Minmus, and after all that darkness and not being able to see stuff, yeah, I wanted to be in the light, even though I do have lights now, and I use that as an excuse to not land on dark side. But I just like it in the light anyways because it's easier for me to see, it's easier for you guys to see. Anyway, gonna speed things up here once again so that we can get a little more done during this episode, because we're hitting almost into the 13-minute marker, and I know, just make your episodes longer, but I don't know, I don't want to burn out, and you know, this is the perfect amount of time for me to like stay into things and work on other stuff. Because, believe it or not, and you know this if you play Kerbal Space Program, this game does take a lot of thought and creativity and time. Lots of time. Lots of this stuff is accelerated during these episodes. But I'm doing it real time, and it takes a long while to do some of these missions. But I'm still having a lot of fun, so don't worry. The series will move on for a little while longer. All right, anyways, now it's time to see if this fancy little scanner that I spent 1,000 of my hard-earned science on was worth it. Actually, it was worth it because I wanted that large ore tank. That alone was good enough for me. Not to spend 1,000 science, but we'll see. All right, so here I'm just zoning in on the landed craft here. Haven't done this in a while, so I don't know if I've lost my touch. Just kind of going back and forth, back and forth. Don't want to land quite on top of it. Want to land just relatively close to the vehicle. I can get out. It's Minmus. Can use my RCS packs and go super, super far, super, super fast. So it's all good. Not too bad, though. Yep. This thing, I don't know. I think this craft just in general looks cool with all the resource stuff. So I have each of the resource scanners on here along with a transmission dish. And the transmission dish will essentially be used for Jeb when he gets out and collects maybe a little bit of science like surface samples and EVA reports. Essentially, I'm just going to transmit that back. This vehicle is not returning to Kerbin. Although, what I could do is I could take those crew reports and surface samples, bring them up to the processing lab, and get a truck ton more science out of them. So perhaps I should do that when I find some extra biomes. Okay, so this is a cool little thing here. And it's kind of reminiscent of, like, mods. But I really like this. So essentially, I turn the GUI on and I just move my mouse over the darker spots to see if there is a higher concentration of resources, and it seems that there is not. I'm actually at the perfect location for Minmus, so score. I landed on the moon and got a high concentration too, which is pretty lucky. Anyways, that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.